Hi, Mimi. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Jason. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you on. Tell us who you are, what you do.
My name is Mimi Banks. I'm the founder and CEO of MB Social. We are a social media agency that specializes in beauty.
Awesome. And so, are you an accidental agency owner, or did you have purpose to jump into the deep end of running an agency?
A little bit of both. I left a corporate job looking for what I wanted to do with myself, my life, and I just started asking how can I help and taking on more and more projects, then realizing I had to hire more and more people. Fast forward many years later, here I am with a team of 25.
So, what's been the biggest surprise of, over the past couple of years of running your agency?
The biggest surprise, well, I always laugh at the skills that my managers, when I worked at L'Oreal, tried to teach or to distill to me are the same skills that I'm now teaching to the people that work for me or work with me. So
Okay.
it was kind of a great aha moment for me, which I think that can be that in any job that's not agency specific, but I think you want to build a team of people that you believe in and that you work well with.
Yeah. So, what were like those skills outside of like that you work well with and that you believe in? Like, what were those skills that those leaders helped you with?
I think a poignant part in social media and specifically in the beauty industry is having a strategic point of view and also to be very customer centric and to understand the why behind what you do specifically in social media, because what we do is more than just posting. It's a very thoughtful strategy, thoughtful communities that we're building. And it shows in the level of care and the relationships that my team has built with our clients.
Awesome. You know, when I was running my agency and before I sold it, I started realizing kind of the identity shifts that I went through from founding the agency to, managing people and architecting, all that kind of different stuff. And really kind of the first phase that I really felt like I was in was the operator, where I was doing everything and anything. How long did you operate in that stage before you
I
started
would say,
hiring people?
oh, I was going to say because I'm still operating a little bit. It was a very slow growth model because I wasn't set out to be a big agency, and it's arguably, I mean, it's big for me. Someone today was they called us small before, which I sometimes like to think we're not that small because I think it's small to medium, but I grew very deliberately. So when we had the client work, I would bring on more people. But as I would grow with each account or level of responsibility or projects, I made sure to staff it accordingly, that I always had someone who was responsible for doing the work. I saw myself as accountable, but they were responsible.
And so you were managing them.
Correct.
And when you started managing them, did you feel like, I remember I went through this where I was doing everything and anything that anybody wanted. Like, you need a website? All right, cool. Like, you need this application? I'll figure it out. Yeah, I'll go do it. And then I started bringing on people, but I brought on people without systems. So then I was doing the work, managing them, and doing their job. Did you ever go through that trap?
Um, I tried very hard not to. When I brought on people, there was certainly training in place, but we created together. We created the most efficient places, the ways of doing things, because I had already done that at L'Oreal. At the end of my job there, I created social media. So I was one of the first people to do social media at L'Oreal. I created the platform for our Lancome. And when I was doing that, I had to create those systems. So I took those systems with me when I started. So we had a way of working, we had an ideas, and some of the things we still do today, which is interesting because social media doesn't have always all the things and tools that you need. So, and we optimize as we go. But I was I was doing some of the work, but I was making sure that we had people and resources to make sure that things got done. Now, granted, now I don't do the work. I'm more managing and working on new business. So that evolved a lot. And to see, I guess that's surprising, is like to be somewhat removed from how day to day what happens. And I have to ask my team to say, okay, I'm not an expert here. You know this better than me, but this is what I would think would be a good
Mhm.
question to ask.
Yeah. Do you ever, when you started getting removed from the actual work that you used to do for all those years, do you ever feel like it was kind of, you had to like be pulled back into it to actually go do it? Like for example, a lot of times when I got to a certain point, when I became like the true CEO of the agency, I didn't have to work as much. Like literally I was working 20 hours a week versus 100 hours a week or 40 hours a week when I was like the architect, like had the systems. I was working 20 and I'd be like, let me go fuck shit up. Because like I'd go into a creative meeting and be like, no, I'm good. I go into a marketing meeting. Nope, I'm good. Go into a sales meeting. No, I'm good. And I'd be like, what the hell am I supposed to do? You ever go through that?
No, right now, no, because I'm constantly building and we're working on a new product right now. So that's taking a lot of time. We're also growing. We don't have a sales team. So a lot of the sales slash all of the sales comes from our relationships. So I still participate in key client meetings, even though I'm not the one that's doing the work, I'm still heavily involved. So no,
How many hours?
I don't have enough time in the day.
Oh, okay. That's what I was going to ask you. I was like, so you're working all the time.
I manage my hours. I have a 2.5 year old. So, like, for example, I'm in the West Coast. So today I had a meeting with France. It was our first call with a client meeting. So I make sure I'm there. So that was at 6 a.m. So if I work from 6 until 3, that's, I can work a 9 hour day. And
Yeah.
then, but I'm still working until 3. So that's actually okay because then I can, in theory, have time and I don't sign back on unless I need to. But my days are still quite full.
Yeah. What do you think you need to do in order to kind of free some of those days up?
It's a very good question. It's a very good question. We're working on it to see, but like right now, it's because we're working on a new aspect of the business. We're launching a training. We are an educational platform, so I'm very much in the development side of it because I'm a subject matter expert. So I'm there to tweak and to work on the content, which is time consuming. I think once we have that launched, it's like each section of that has taken time because we're figuring it out. It's very much a startup. And that is more of a time suck because you don't know what you don't know and you're learning along the way.
Yeah. What about like one of the things I always felt like the biggest thing that was holding me back for many years was the stories I had in my head based on kind of the methodology or the system that we actually set up. And when I started kind of outlining those a little bit and giving those to my team, then I could kind of transition them a little bit more to the subject matter experts or what I call the practice directors, because we had multiple niches when we started becoming much bigger. And obviously I couldn't do it all. Like I
Yeah.
didn't want to do it all, or I was going to be like, because I was at a point where I was working all the time and I was just like, I don't have to work all the time. I shouldn't. Like I was telling someone I heard a really cool story. It was this. It was about these two lumberjacks, and they all showed up at the same time and they left at the same time. But one lumberjack that produced twice as much would leave for 3 hours and go somewhere else throughout the day. And the one lumberjack would like go to the other guy and be like, dude, where are you going for 3 hours during the day? And you're killing me for producing all of this lumber. He goes, I go home to sharpen my axe. Of like, like he's just getting systemized and taking time off to be that more efficient. I just thought that was a cool story.
No, it's a great story. It's having me thinking, we're constantly looking at what we do, how we do it, what, where can we find efficiencies, um, constantly. How can we use AI? How can we streamline this? So we're in a very high touch industry with social media because it's constantly changing. There's constant requests. There's reactive content. So what are the work streams? What are the team members? How can we have support? I mean, we're honestly constantly looking at that. And that kind of involvement, I don't touch at all. So, but I can weigh in to ask the questions to see if they can find the better tools. Like we just put in a better operational tool for even little things like HR and requesting time off, or having, little things that could be time sucks that just, okay, let's just make it easy. Let's make it easy for everybody. So we're
Yeah.
finding that as we go.
Yeah. I also, when I look back at when I was the biggest bottleneck, I was just trying to think like, how do I make people stop coming to me for all the answers?
Yep.
And and it was just easier a lot of times just to tell them the answer in the short term, and then they can go do it. Or a lot of times I would be like, oh man, like it's going to take me more time to explain it to you rather than me just do it. And then I started realizing, I was like, man, and we were talking about this in our mastermind. One of the members had the epiphany, I think that's what you call it, I don't know, or like the skies open and they had this great big thought, and they go, if my team just does 80% of what I would do, that's good enough,
Mm-hmm.
versus my 100%, because I can't do 100% for everything. And the one thing that I always told them, I was like, do a 1-3-1 method. When someone comes to you with a problem, go, what's the issue? What are the 3 things that you're thinking about doing? And what do you recommend? You do that enough, they'll actually stop coming to you, and they'll actually start making decisions.
I like that's a great method. We do suggest, like, we have a coaching methodology where it's asking questions. And I know that some of my team members, when they're training, they say it's just easier if I do, it's easier if I do it. And it's like, but then you're going to keep doing it. So please stop doing it. I don't, 90% of the things I don't review anymore. I'm like, I trust you. No. And I just came off of a call now. A team member is putting up a job description. I was like, no, I trust you. You're the head of this department. You take care of it. You do it. I don't need to review it. So I definitely review less. I definitely am not inside of the mechanics. When something is new and we're working through it together, I pay more attention because it's just offering another set of opinions. But I do think that when you are coaching or training, to start to ask those questions, so that to help people think of how they can either think of new options themselves, so they don't rely on you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, is there anything I didn't ask you that you think would benefit the other agencies listening in that we could share some light on? Or
That's a very good question. What I think is an interesting conversation now, and that where I'm like trying to wrap my mind around, and this is not about asking, this is just a conversation that I'm having with my team, with myself, is about hiring. Because it was really interesting in social media, and I don't know if you've seen this, is that everybody says that they can do social media. Everyone thinks they did social media, they can post on Instagram, or they've like taken a picture personally. And then you get on the job and you realize that that skill does not always transfer or translate, or they've filled out something using AI, or they have AI open during their interview.
oh, the
And
interview
so
process?
that's what I've heard, that someone had
No.
ChatGPT open during the interview and could like automatically see and like
I've had
program
someone
it.
do that to me.
I mean, it's wild. And I think this is like a very big challenge right now. I mean, we have this challenge of being able to like, say, even if we wanted to give someone an assignment, no, using AI, don't do, do this, and to try to really assess people, the skill level or the talent of how you're building your teams. I mean, this is something that we're talking about right now a lot.
So why do you care if they use AI on the assignment?
I don't. So I actually don't care if they use AI in the assignment, because all the better if it can help you think. But the
Mhm.
output is not going to be kind of just directly outputted from AI. So use AI to help you think. I think you have to be able to discern how to use AI and how to use it to help push you and think about things that maybe you haven't thought of, but still make it your own somehow.
Yeah.
So the example I'm giving is that we've been flirting with offshore to like expand our resources. And I would get these perfect presentations, but it didn't match the resume that was not perfect. And it didn't,
Yeah.
so I couldn't evaluate how someone was actually thinking or what they would do on a given situation, because I have two conflicting pieces of data from the surface.
Yeah. No, it's definitely tough, especially going through the thousands of resumes. Because what do? We posted the job listing on a job board, and then we get 1,000 resumes in or 1,000 applications. I'm going to tell you all how to eliminate all of that. So on any of those job applications where you can just hit submit, or apply, say, do not apply here. If you apply here, you're disqualified. Email me at this email address with this specific subject line and with a 4-minute or less video. So what happens is 10% email
That
you,
is correct. That is correct.
and then 10% of that actually put in the subject
That
line.
is correct.
10% of that do the emails. And the other thing too is, like, when I give an assignment, like even in the interview process of after all that filters that we set up, I'm testing them. Like, if I'm hiring a salesperson, I'm barely going to talk. I want them to be asking the questions and directing. I want them to set up the next meeting. One of our resources or one of our core values is being resourceful. So I never hire people from a big company, because then they come in like you remember the movie Office Space, right? Like, it's like, I take the stapler here and I put it
Oh,
over
right,
here.
right.
They have all these resources. You probably saw that at L'Oreal. Like, you have all these resources. I thought, like, I'll hire from the biggest agencies in the world, but then they were the worst employees for my team.
Right, right. And so I had that also because when I left L'Oreal, I went to a startup, which was in an apartment in another country. And I went to the startup, brought my own computer, had to learn a lot of things that I didn't had at L'Oreal. But what I will say, we did something similar with this recent job, is that we put on LinkedIn and we said, fill out this form. So we sent them to a Google form so that we can collect the data of who was going to apply, right? So you filtered basically that way, because we had specific questions about level of experience on different social media things, and wanted to have like examples and portfolios and things. We got that. We curated from there people we wanted to hire. From there, we used a tool called Hireflex. So it's exactly the same methodology you said. Hireflex, you're able to film 5 video questions.
Oh, I like that.
Then you have people answer them.
Do you turn off the retry?
We sure did. I
Yeah,
sure did.
yeah.
I sure did. Turned off the retry, but you lost. A lot of people didn't do it, and it tracks who opens it and who doesn't open it. And then, so I was so frustrated because some of the people I actually was looking forward to hearing from, and I'm like, maybe they didn't get it. Why are they not doing this? Like, what's happening here? And so it was very frustrating, because then I actually did have to go back to the pool on LinkedIn to start to look through other people and start filtering that maybe people clearly weren't reading it because they were just going through so many. But then, is that indicative that they're not serious? Is that all these things? But we did do this methodology to cut through all of the noise on LinkedIn to be able to see who's paying attention, and then to see who would go through with the Hireflex, which was genius. And then the other thing that I could do, speaking of using AI, Hireflex gives you the transcript. You can take the transcript of every single person, put that into AI, create a rubric, and have AI help you say on each question, where does someone score 1 to 5 based on the benchmark and based on your job description, which helped us then also curate the people. So we tried all these, which I think was a super interesting way to also be objective, to be like, I think whatever. And so you had all that data again to help you inform you.
Yeah. I also, the best people I've ever had, I've gone out and recruited.
Yeah.
Most of the people that don't have a job, there's a reason. There's sometimes they're very unfortunate, right? But I haven't been unfortunate. I've been fired from every single job I've ever had because I was built to do this. Like, I cannot work for someone. But like, you would never want me to work for you. Like, it would just be like, yeah, I'd get fired pretty quick.
I think a lot of entrepreneurs were fired. I was almost fired once too. I mean, I think a lot of entrepreneurs have that kind of mentality to some degree, or have a story there. Yeah, I think or some of the best people have been with me since they've been very junior. And so we've kind of grown together, learned together, understand the business together. But that's something that I find from an agency perspective interesting about talent. And you're saying not coming from a big agency, but the thing that I've been thinking about is we see a lot of people from small agencies, and I'm like, but can they hang? You're a small agency, but if we're dealing with the big companies, you have to kind of still have a big company mindset, which is
Yeah.
hard, which is really hard because the demands that they have are, it's not working for like your local jewelry store or the local bakery or
Yeah.
restaurant. It's very different.
It is. I agree with you on the demand. We used to do everything for like Lotus Cars and Hitachi and Aflac, and they were very, very demanding, and you had to play by their rules because everyone wanted to work with them. And then I finally got to a point where I was like, fuck it. Fuck this, man. Like Coke had, or I'm sorry, a large beverage company with a red logo in Atlanta, because I can't say their name because they're idiots. But they would go, we're going to have you on payment terms for 6 months or something like that. I was like, nope, I'm going to work with the $1 billion brands no one's ever heard of. And then when we did that, that's when things really changed, and we leveraged those. But what I realized too with those biggest companies in the world, when I would deal with the CMOs, they were good leaders, but they didn't know jack shit about marketing.
Hmm.
It was
Yeah,
really
it's
surprising.
the payment terms are kind of crazy. We went from 30 days to 60 days, 60 days to 90 days, 90 days, 120, which is not really feasible and very stressful for an agency, very stressful. And
No.
I agree with you. I want, in beauty, it's all about the sexy brands. And I was like, I don't care about sexy right now. I care about interesting, smart, good people that believe in social where we can do good work together. I think being at an agency is also like dating. I like it in everything to dating, where it's like you have to see if you like each other, you have to see if you get along, you have to see if you work well together in the same way as dating, because I think the best relationships that are really in sync. At least that was
Yeah.
what we've seen with our clients.
Yeah. I a couple years ago I interviewed Seth Godin on the podcast, and I asked him kind of like the state of the union back then about agencies, and was there an agency that he admired, and he said there was one, and he was like, look, they had 50 people, and they go, 50 is our sweet spot for the amount of employees. Like, we don't want to go over that, and if we don't go over that we can only handle this amount of clients.
Mm-hmm.
And they designed the whole agency around themselves. And they said to the client, like, look, if you're too demanding, or like you want stuff done yesterday and you're really late at getting us the stuff and all this kind of stuff, you can go somewhere else, because we're not going to put our people through that. And they would have waiting lists. And it was really cool, because I related to that, because in the very beginning, or for many years, I did it the wrong way, where the agency owned me, or really the clients owned me, and we're at their beck and call. And then
Right.
finally I said, nope, I'm designing it around me. If you ever disrespect my team, you're out, and I'll go find someone else. And it was freeing, but it took me a long time to realize that.
Yeah, I definitely have a no bullshit rule. Like if something happens with my team, I will not stand for that. Will not stand for that. So we have towed the line where I've had to give people feedback or clients about the tone or just how my team is feeling based on their approach. But yeah, I agree. It's probably very freeing to be able to say, hey, this is not healthy. This is what we need for our agency.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks so much for coming on the show. I know you're very, very busy. I appreciate you coming on and sharing with us. And for everyone listening, if you guys enjoyed this and you want to be, hear more, make sure you subscribe. And I do have a new book coming out for everyone to check out. It's called Operator to Owner. It's really about the 5 shifts that we all go through in order to get more freedom in your business, so you're not working all the time. Make sure you go to check it out at operator to owner evolution.com. And until next time, have a swank day.